Hey everybody, welcome back to Edgington, the city on the edge, and it is dawn of day 44. Can you believe that I have been doing this now for significantly longer than Edgington 1 actually survived? It's kind of amazing, and yeah, I've got my little Kieran sheep up here, so my voice sounds a little different because it's passing through a sheep. It's a weird day. So everybody's waking up. We are doing a little bit worse for wear on the food, but I think it'll be okay. I think it's largely because people have just woken up, so they're just eating a whole ton of it. And we've got our guards waking up, changing positions, that kind of thing. And we also have... Oh, wait, why? Why do you now do the spooky music? Come on. Hey, we have named benches, is what I'm saying. So we've got the cat bench, and we've got the bumblebee flower bench, in honor of our fallen miners who were tragically struck down whilst they were building this road, or digging this road, I should say. And we also have this statue, which is about to see its naming as well, so we are renaming this to Wei Lin Statue. There we go. In honor of the first person to die in this new world, as it were, this new settlement. And we've already named like this Rickerman Mine, so Rickerman has an ode. And I believe that's everybody. I think that's everybody who has died. But it has been a very long while, so if I've forgotten somebody, let me know in the comments, and I'll be seeing to finding them. Well, a bench probably to have, because a bench is easy to add, really. But other than that, I figured that would be a rather appropriate thing to do. Ooh, Hazard's leveled up, alright. A rather appropriate thing to do because I'm filming this fairly close to Remembrance Day, because it is November now. And Remembrance Day has a very interesting association for me, because it's not something I particularly mark on my calendar as a consequence of military service, which I'm not exactly a huge fan of, for various reasons that I won't get into, because that will bore you all to tears. But I mark it on my calendar because by sheer accident, it is the date when I started up my webcomic, which started up essentially, my whole career nowadays. So I started up making my webcomic Remember, hence Remember Comics is the website for that, if you somehow didn't know. And I did that unwittingly. Like, I literally did this completely forgetting what day it was on Remembrance Day in either 2007 or 2008. I think it was late 2007 when I started the comic, and 2008 when the website actually went up. I think that was about it. And that basically is the point that I mark as Remember's birthday, so that's sort of where I go with it. Is there more? Not terribly yet, no. But we're working on it. What do you got in your inventory, sir? Zip all, but an iron hammer, which I think we got delivered to us by one of our new settlers. So yeah, I think, let me see, the comic I did, I did it very regularly. Like, I used to have, it used to be that I would pump out a comic page like twice a week, I think it was. But then it got to university and I started to have a lot less time, and my standards of, like, quality went up. That meant I had to spend more time on it anyways. And my machine just sort of got slower over time. The last machine I used for actually making Remember is the laptop I took with me to MCM, and that is quite a bit old now. Oh, Clover's leveled up, right. A whole bunch of leveled ups today. That's good. Good to see. So yeah, suffice to say, it's dwindled a bit in terms of updates, especially since I'm now a full-time YouTuber, so that takes up the priority, like, bulk of my time. But every now and then, I do get back to it, and I do enjoy it still. I do like sitting down and doing some drawing. It's contentious as to whether I would call myself, as to whether I qualify as an artist, but I consider myself one, at least. If you're drawing something, you're an artist. If you're writing something, you're a writer. That's the way I look at it. It is not for others to provide some kind of... Level 2 herder Helena, hooray. It is not for others to provide some kind of... to provide some kind of complex qualifications list by which you can classify yourself as an artist or such. That way is a bad way to look at society's lines. But I digress quite a bit, as usual. You know me, I ramble. But yeah, I like to do those drawing streams every now and then. Streaming them is a fairly recent innovation, but it's nice to have a chill bit of time to yourself every now and then. Healthy, I would say. Hey, but anyway, so we've got on patrol here. We have Aku and we have Rafe. And we have Paper and we have Penguin, who are presumably going to be coming off shift soon enough. Let's see, it's early morning. And that is when you go to sleep. Yep. Same for you. Yeah. So these two are finishing up their rounds and they'll be off to sleep. And meanwhile, our other two have begun their marches. And if they get hungry along here, they have lovely places to stop. Hooray. All good. Right, so I ran out of names, and I was informed there's actually like 2 or 3 names that I haven't used yet. But there's a little bit of confusion on my Patreon page, because it seems that people were providing names fit for Yolk Dwarves, which is fine. That's the same tier, so that makes perfect sense. And either not telling me that those were also their Edgington names, or providing names that were too long for Edgington's character limits. For example, Samantha the Great is basically the longest name I can give. Because the naming, like the names for Yolk Dwarves can be a lot longer than they can for Edgington. But alas, so I've managed to dig out a couple more names. So if we get some new people around, then we can provide some names for them. And this really doesn't capture Wayland's likeness, but I have few options for statues, so we have to take it. But yeah, Remembrance Day. So, again, I'm going to avoid the politics on this one. I'm going to avoid discussing my opinions on military service and such, but it is fundamentally about remembering those who have come before us. So, who has come before us? Well, Wayland is our first and foremost, and I am going by just the ones I've got names here for, because those are the ones I can remember. Wayland was an archer when we first got here, and Wayland is, I think, the only person in either Edgington who has actually starved to death. Edgington has had its food problems here and there. People have gone hungry for a few days, but Wayland was the first person who actually starved to death. And our canon interpretation of this is that Wayland knew there wasn't much food to go around. Wayland knew 2 things. That if he didn't eat, others could, and that if he was to necessarily fall over from starvation, there'd be more food to go around. So as Wayland looked upon it, either way, there being fewer mouths to feed was a good thing. So Wayland did the sort of Captain Oates supreme sacrifice, and didn't go out for a walk in maybe some time, but stuck around to try and help defend the fledgling, settlement here. Back when it was over here, in fact, this is still a mark from the old farm. Until eventually his physical form could stand it no longer, and he tragically passed away. And I had no clue the entire time it was happening. That's how quiet about it he was. Like, that was the first tragedy for Edgington, and if memory serves, we hadn't even encountered any mobs by that point. Like, that was an important point, an important, like, marker for New Edge. But then, we had Rickerman, who was our miner, who was our top level miner and had been our chief miner for old Edgington, and he was working in the mines one evening, I think it was, when we had a couple of warg riders enter into the mainland area that we have here at the beachhead, and we sent our archers out to try and fend them off, but unfortunately they were quite they were too late. The warg rider just ran straight into here because I don't think we had a door even then. Either they either broke down the door or we didn't have one. I think we still had the actual covering, the old subway entrance kind of start here, and this is that's what prompted this building. So we didn't have a door, it just rode in, and at this point Rickerman was on his way to bed, but was still heavily laden with mining supplies and all sorts, so it was very slow, had no chance whatsoever of outrunning the Wild Rider in the tight space, and just sort of got stabbed and died about here. And his death was at least not in vain, because it has since revolutionized our mining setup here. So we've got this fully defensible area in which we have hosted some infantry. We've got this big strong dungeon door. We've got all sorts in here. There's no there's reasonably no way that could ever happen again. Our miners are a lot safer, but saying that, our next two deaths were miners as well. So over here we have the benches to memorialize Cat and Bumblebee Flower, and they also died to a Warg Rider, because they were working on this, digging this out during the night, and when the Warg Riders, I think 3 of them, turned up in one particular stretch, and they tried to go to the water, and as it looked like the water wasn't going to be a good idea, Bumblebee Flower, I think it was, turned around and tried to take a swing at the Wild Rider, but turns out even a leather tunic is not very much against a Wild Rider, so they both swiftly fell, and the Wild Rider was then mercilessly taken down by Seth and Samantha. Actually, no, it was 2 of our infantry, because Seth and Samantha weren't able to get there fast enough, so I don't know which 2 of our remaining of our infantry it was. I think Aku was among them. But yes, suffice it to say that happened. And then we ruthlessly got rid of every single Wild Rider we could lay our hands upon. Or in that case, our in that particular example, that we could lay our... Do we not have any more bricks? Apparently not. Okay, at 50. And let's also add 50 field stone as well. There we go. Level 9 Forager, let's sawtooth, hooray. So, their deaths were also not in vain, because we've now got, we now have instated that all miners must be in bed during the night hours, and we've also got these benches and these food stops, so that our infantry units that are on patrol, as they are now, which are also in shifts, which is another advantage, can stop somewhere to eat without actually leaving their post, as it were. So, it's good to look back on the past and see who you've lost, but it's also good to use that to inform how you go about the future, how things change. And that's chiefly, I think, the primary purpose of memory. That's the chief reason that you have this knowledge that you can retain of the past and where you were and what happened and who isn't around anymore to enjoy what's become of their future at the time. So I don't particularly I'm not particularly fond of the whole poppies thing, of the whole looking back on World War One, especially because, oh boy, that was needless. But I understand it. I appreciate why people do it, and that I have no qualms with them doing it. I just personally don't subscribe to it, because I have enough. I have enough issues to deal with about lending myself to over 60 or 100 years in the past of gruesomeness. Okay, right, we've got some more brick coming up, so hopefully that means this will get finished soon, and then I can finish up this road. And I think we've got a decent... Nope, we don't. Not even remotely close. Here. So speaking of remembering things, and looking at where you've come, which I frequently do, because I still scarcely believe this is my job, coming up soon is Desert Bus for Hope 10. Now it goes up on the Saturday, and I'm planning on having my my Desert Bus for Hope shirt on, which I think comes from Desert Bus for Hope 3 era, I think. But for those of you who don't know, Desert Bus for Hope is a charity marathon put up by a really fun group of folks called Literally Run. They're a Canadian sketch comedy troupe. They have been going since before YouTube was a thing, and although they don't do weekly sketches anymore, they did do for a very long time, longer than I was making Remember, like, regularly. And basically, they play this game called Desert Bus, which is from a collection for the old Sega Genesis, I think, called Penn and Teller's Smoke and Magic, and yes, that Penn and Teller. Ooh, we're getting some weird clustering here, but I'll take it, I'll take it. Oh, I should probably move this forward, shouldn't I? So, structures, storage, builder's cart. There we are. Let's stick that there. And that requires a carpenter. Okay. We'll wait for a carpenter to move it to build this along then. But I think that wouldn't take very long. In fact, I think I might even see one coming along soon. So yeah, they play this, and they like the amount of money that you donate increases the duration of the marathon, and each successive hour costs more to get to the next one. So basically, there is a sort of soft hard limit, which is after a while you would have to donate like $1 million or something to get to the next hour. So it just sort of peters out eventually, but early on you get a big splash of hours, which is a nice way to do it. I think that's always been like a fairly effective model for them. And yes, I am basically just staring at this, waiting for it to grow. How are we doing over on plants here? Our wheat is down to 134, but we've got some more coming up here. We've got double the size of the wheat farm we were using before. I'll probably just rotate this, so every now and then we'll turn it back up whenever we are low on wheat, and yep, it's going up right there. Very good. Oh, I love this track. Okay, so yes, there we go. That is Hazar? Yeah, Hazar going to fix up that new storage. But they do live auctions, and they do challenges, like, it used to be that they would do it for, like, you would submit it and say, I will donate such and such an amount if you do this, and they would say, yes, donate that, and we'll do it. Or no, they're allowed to, like, not do stuff like that, obviously, because obviously they do everything under the sun. And let me see, what else do they do? They have call-ins from various people, various really cool stuff. I think Ashley Birch, otherwise known as Hey Ash, What You Playing, or the voice of Tiny Tina from Borderlands is playing in, and they have a long-time supporter, Phil Platt, calling in, and they have Ken Stacy, who has done a freaking huge amount of stuff over the years, ranging from, like, Star Trek to World of Warcraft, believe it or not. Also coming in to chuck in some stuffs, and basically every single year has gotten bigger. The first time they did it, it was just in somebody's front living room. And the second time they did it, it was in... I think they actually had an office then, I can't quite remember. They did that then, they called that the Moon Base. And more or less every year it's happened. It seems like they've done it in a different place. But I think this time they're doing it in their largest place to date. Which is fun, because last year they actually had, like... They were in a location which, for whatever reason, I don't know why, had a disarmed helicopter on the premises. And one of the characters from their ongoing, from one of their ongoing podcast series is actually a helicopter pilot. So they literally got to have a segment where he was literally in a helicopter. It was wonderful. But it usually these days lasts about a week. Anything more than that takes a near absurd amount of money to get to. And ooh, we are actually low on lumber, so let's chop down some trees, shall we? Just to show how easy this is. There we go. All set. No concerns. So, you can just go right to work on that, Margaret. And we'll just have a ton of wood before we even know it. Hell! So it's late morning, we should be getting fairly close to midday, I think. Oh yeah, my background looks a bit dark. It's because like half of the lights in my office are currently out, and I am a short man, and this ceiling is not. So, yeah, there's that. How are we doing this? We still got more? 6? Oh boy, let's add more to that list. Jeez. What are the resources required for making that? I've just had that slight thought. Oh, we're fine. 286 dirt, and we'll get more from digging out more of this place, so, either way, good. Oh, yep, and there is midday. Right, well, so yeah, just sort of looking back at how Desert Bus has grown is astonishing to me. It's just like every year it gets more intricate, every year it gets bigger, and every year they somehow raise more money. Like, they're at the point now where they are raising more money before they have started the marathon than they made in entire preceding years. It's kind of ridiculous. But it is amazing. And they do that, in case you're wondering, in support of Child's Play Charity, which is founded by the guys from Penny Arcade, if memory serves. And they basically provide toys and games to a lot of different hospitals around the world for kids who are sick and like stuck in hospitals for prolonged periods, which can suck. I wasn't stuck in, like, hospital for more than a week, I think, but I remember that it can suck. It doesn't take very much to realize that much. And I think they've, like, actually migrated slightly away from that in more recent years, because now there's a bunch of hospitals have sort of, like, figured out that, giving kids toys and games to play whilst they're in hospital is actually like a big benefit to their mental state, and as a consequence their recuperation. But now they're actually also advising hospitals on like the best games and toys to give for various conditions and situations, that kind of thing, which is wonderful. Even better, like, not only are you catering to children's mental states, keeping them happy and stuff, you're also telling people, informing people, and educating people on how best to do that. There's like several levels of awesome and good in the world. But yeah, check that out. You can check that out at desertbus.org, and I pretty much lose a week every year to it, so it's fun. And we definitely need more Stonehouse, jeez. But that is it for today, and I shall catch you all next time.